I'm Holly Marder. I'm the founder and creative director of Avenue Design Studio. We're a boutique interior design studio that specialises in thoughtful, artisanal homes that are deeply personal and functional.
My name is Kate Davison. I am an American expat splitting my time between Amsterdam and Antwerp. I am a freelancer and an event coordinator. I also manage my home as a location hire. I have a background in historic archives and I just love to tell stories, so I try to weave those stories in through my events, through the spaces that I like to style, and also through the photo shoots that I host. We first connected through Instagram, I think, when I was living in California. I think, yeah, your designs were what initially brought me attention. But then I think, yeah, after buying our house in Belgium, I thought, yeah, she has to come on board for that. And then when we met, like, it was an instant connection, I feel like. And now I think now we're best friends, but also love to work together on all of the projects that we do.
I think from a core level, I grew up surrounded by antiques. My mum was an avid collector and her parents before her. So I have a very deep appreciation for craftsmanship and that sort of warm quality of old furniture that just lends such a beautiful softness to contemporary design. Avenue Design Studio was born from a desire to create truly beautiful but very personal spaces, and spaces that are designed to be felt every bit as much as they are seen. I've always been drawn to tactility, which stemmed from my childhood and then into fashion design. And so I'm quite drawn to layering those pieces of the puzzle together to create spaces that are warm and inviting. Our spaces are so personal to us that I really feel that there's quite an art to creating a space that really evokes emotion and promotes interaction. Materials are at the core of everything that we create. They're the foundation. I'm drawn very much to materials that age beautifully with time.
When we purchased the apartment, I thought, there's no way that I couldn't involve you in this. I think that you obviously would know exactly what we would need, and I think you and I approached the project the exact same way, which obviously worked out perfectly.
I think it's always hard because when it comes to purchasing property for yourself and designing your own home, nobody ever really cares as much as you do in that moment. And I think what's been so beautiful, if I can speak for you, is to have that sort of creative sounding board with someone that you trust so much to help bring your ideas to life. I think it was just bringing back that serenity that we found in Belgium and trying to give it a more contemporary spin, something that felt a little bit more cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
And so the finishes are perhaps a little harder, they're a bit more modern, a bit sharper. I've been working with Corston as a brand for quite some time, as you know. And there was a particular finish that I felt was just so perfect for the pied-à-terre, and that's their bronze finish, because it's that masculinity and then it's the softness of the material and that slightly sort of off black. It's not so sharp, but it felt very contemporary and just the perfect balance.
We also needed to make a big impact in such a small space because it's small, so it was a thoughtful process to like make it a smart design.
Definitely with a smaller space, anything that is in the space is going to be so much more obvious and present. So you do see things like the sockets and those parts that aren't always the sexy things that we want to see.
And the lighting as well. Like, we tended to do something that made a bigger impact because, again, it is a small space, but using like a fluted glass that kind of mimicked the wood that was done in the bookcases, for instance.
Yeah, those were all very intentional choices, and that sort of balancing out of the hard and the soft, delicate details that feel very subtle, but were very much a part of that layering process. These finishing touches and things like the electric sockets that are just in plain sight are so often overlooked. And so that in that sort of intentional process of bringing in the right finishes within the context of a small space, just selecting the right finish was so important. I think for me, my favorite sort of part of the house is when you walk into the house and you're standing in the kitchen. You have the old beams overhead, this really clean but striking kitchen, and then juxtaposing the sort of modernity of the choices that were made there. We've got this little antique furniture set, and for me that's exactly the balance that we were trying to create, was that sort of old and new. And I quite like the Windsor lights.
And how we just like duplicated them throughout the whole space, so it really draws your eye back through the whole apartment.
It almost accentuates that corridor factor, but at the same time they're so soft and gentle on the space that they illuminate each individual area. And I love how they mirror what's happening on the built-in cabinets.
Yeah. And it just makes the space feel cohesive because you walk into the kitchen, but you can also see all the way through.
I love how, the way they look when they're lit just feels so soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, just again, that right balance that we were looking for. I think what's so important is that the details are considered from the get-go. I think we both very much see eye to eye on quality.
Yeah.
That, there's always going to be compromises that have to be made in the process of a renovation. It's like the jewelry, isn't it? It's these sort of finishing touches that, they are a minor component, but at the end they can really make or break the space.